I am so honored to be the guest designer on Stencil Sunday at Stamplorations, and this is my first of 3 monthly chances to share Stamplorations' brilliant stencils and other products with you. Hello and welcome to Karen's Creative Cards on YouTube. I am Karen Hashik, and I love to find ways to stretch my crafty budget by using stencils and other card making products in different ways. In this video, I am sharing how I used Christmas stencils for non-holiday cards and stencils not designed for holiday cards on Christmas cards. I used 2 Christmas tree stencils on this Slimline Christmas card. The stencils are the Christmas trees, which has this really cool stencil that I used here, and it also has a balls, circles Christmas tree. And then this one is Christmas Tree 1 by Santa Limpert for Artplorations, and I used both of those on this card. I used Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo, which dries tacky, and then applied gold glitter to this Christmas tree, and you can see in the background I stenciled that other Christmas tree stencil. But when I looked at this stencil here, it looked like arrows, so I decided to make a card that was obviously not for Christmas, and I used that stencil to make arrows going up and that way, and then I put one on the vellum here. The arrows reminded me of that old Toby Keith refrain, "Proceed to party," and so I put that on vellum there, and then on the inside is another Stamplorations die, Celebrate Big. I love this Slimline cat stencils from Artplorations. So that's another division of Stamplorations. And on this card, I double stenciled with the plaid stencil and then with the cat for a. So I show how you can use a Slimline stencil to make a card that is not slimline, and also of course make a cool card with double stenciling. But on this card I used the slimline stencil, and I made that cat into a Christmas card. Can you figure out which stencils I used on this Big Hugs card? It's definitely not a Christmas card, but I used this Christmas trees stencil, and then I also used the cat to make those lines in there. So, and that makes kind of a cool graphic look. And so that shows how you can stretch your supplies and use them for in different ways. If you like this die here, Big Hugs, stick around to the end. You'll find a way that you might be able to win it. One of my favorite things to do with stencils is to start dark and then fade off, and then overstamp with sentiments and images as I did here. This card stencil is called Christmas Flowers, and but it definitely can be used for all occasions. And I used this beautiful stamp set called Beautiful You from Stamplorations on this card. And of course, all the links to all the products used will be in my description box, and you can save a whopping 20% off your Stamplorations purchase by using my discount code StampGirlKarenH, and those details are also in my description box. Now this is my favorite of all the cards I created, and I'm going to show you how to make a masculine version of this floating easel Christmas card. On this one, I brushed red ink through this stencil, and then I moved it up a little bit and I brushed gold ink. I applied Glitz Glitter Gel through this stencil. It's called Christmas Reindeer, and it has both the positive and the negatives, which I love when a stencil does that. And I'm going to be using this reindeer, the open stencil, on the card that I show you how to do. And so I applied that through on the acetate, and it kind of looks, it's called a floating easel. So it looks like that reindeer is floating or flying through the air. And I used these clear stickers that Stamplorations has. And I find, you know, of course, stamps and dies can get a little bit pricey, but stickers like these from Stamplorations are so inexpensive, and it can be attached easily, especially to things like acetate. And I used another one of those stickers on the sentiment down there, and that's what holds the easel up. So I'm going to show you how I make a floating easel card for a guy. So I'm going to use this plaid maker stencil, and I have a piece of white paper, and I'm going to use some distress inks and some of my favorite blender brushes, and I'm going to blend ink. I'm going to go darker around the edges and then a little bit lighter in the center. And you can see that that pattern continues from the front of the card into the inside of the card. And that's what I'm going to achieve, but in this case I'm going to make it a guy card instead of a Christmas card. But I'm going to make the deer look like a deer that maybe a hunter might be going after. I have lots of guys in my family who are hunters. If I go a little darker around the edges and then a little lighter towards the center. Now I have applied pixie spray on the back of this stencil, because there are some of these that are very, very little and like to move. And then of course I also tape it down. Now going this way, I'm going to have to move it twice, but that's not a problem. And I do want to mask off that there. And once oops, a little darker on the outside. And then lighter towards the center. And then we're going to move it down. And mask this part off. As you can see, I reuse my tape over and over and over. Now again, darker along the edges, and then a little lighter. And then I'm going to take these Cutplorations Crazy Double Running Stitch Rectangle Dies. You can see from almost all my cards I just love stitched dies and I use them often. And I'm going to cut the frame out and then also that inside piece out. And when I do that, to save a little time, I will end up with pieces like this. So this will become the frame on the front of the card, and this will be the inside of the card. And I just love that the pattern continues. And I marked on the back, this is the top and this is the top. That's so I know that they'll line up and the pattern will continue from the inside to the outside and vice versa. Now I love Glitz Glitter Gel from Gina K and Thermoweb, but I decided that she was a little too sparkly for a guy's card, and I don't have any Glitz Glitter Gel in a kind of masculine color. So I'm going to use Decofoil's Metallics Gel, and that will make a more browner, but you know, and less glittery. In this case it's going to be a deer, not a reindeer. And we're just going to apply this. You can see that I masked off the other. There's a reindeer head here, which I can show you in a minute. And I taped it down securely. And I am applying this gel through the stencil. And then I will scrape up some of the excess. And as with most of these gels, you're going to want to get the stencil right into a bath. I made a note here. I had done one previously, and 2 hours is not quite enough. You need about 3 hours for this gel to dry thoroughly. Sometimes the best thing, if you're impatient like me, is just to go overnight, because if you come and touch it sooner just to see if it's dry, especially on acetate, you might make a mark, as I've learned from experience. So you know it's a really good idea, and I forget to do it, is to take a little bit of the gel and put it on a little piece of acetate next to it, and that's the one you can touch that you don't care about, right? But I know now it's going to take at least 3 hours. And I'm going to get that into a bath. Before I let it dry, I decided that that's a little bit too plain. I mean, I want it to look masculine, but I still decided it needed a little something. And I have this beautiful Rose Mill Real Glass Glitter, and I'm going to take some of that and just give him a little bit of glitter, a little bit of sparkle. Doesn't take a lot. And now we're going to let him dry, and I'll come back and finish. So my deer is dry. He has a little bit of sparkle. I attached one of those see-through stickers here. This is going to be a birthday card, but for someone like my son or another special guy, you are a gift to me. Sounds very appropriate. I have the plaid front of that floating easel ready to go with some sticky tape all around, and I have cut this down a little bit, and it's ready to be attached. And I can see I'm outside here a little bit with the acetate, so I'm going to cut that off. Now I have cut another frame with those same dies that I showed you, the Cutplorations crazy double running stitched, and that will make the frame a little more secure, and I'm going to attach it on the back, and it also will cover up that tape there. And when I do this, I trim the inside of this just a little bit, because if it's the exact same size and it shows through the center, you can't do anything about that. If it's outside of it a little bit, as I can see maybe it is on this side, I can always trim that off, but if it's on the inside, I can't. So that was one tip I learned when trying to make my first floating easel cards. Now I have cut an A2 card with top folding, and then I cut another frame or rectangle out of the center of that, and then I folded it up in half. So this top half is where we're going to attach this. Get that lined up pretty good. So as you can see, we're starting to form the easel. This piece here, I marked T for the top, and that's going to go in the inside. I probably should have done that sooner to get it perfectly lined up, but I think I can do it. Pretty good. I like how that pattern continues from the outside to the inside, and that you can see it through the front of that. I have taken a Happy Birthday, which is another die from Cutplorations, and I have cut this set here. That set of rectangles that I keep showing you, that's one of my favorites. You get 3. But if you want to have a smaller piece that still has those cool stitches on there, if you cut out one and then you turn the die and then cut it out again, you're going to get this part here is going to have those stitches on there, which I think stitches just add so much more interest to a rectangle or square or circle or whatever, in my opinion. Now I'm going to pop these up so that it holds the easel up. And that's going to go down here. So our masculine version of a floating easel card with a deer, you are a gift, happy birthday, that will stand up, that you can see through, but will also lay flat to mail, is done. Which one of the many stenciled cards I showed you is your favorite? You could win that card along with this Big Hugs. It's hard to see because it's backwards, but that's the Big Hugs that I showed you before. I don't know about you, but hugs is the #1 thing that I'm missing right now. So I really like this die from Stamplorations, and I have an extra one, so I'm going to be giving it away along with whatever card you tell me was your favorite in your comment. The random winner must have a mailing address in the USA and comment here before December 1st. So in your comment, tell me which one is your favorite card and where you live. You can also win a $15 gift code from Stamplorations by commenting on the blog post for Stencil Sunday at their blog. So be sure to click on the link in the description box and comment there too. Thanks to Stamplorations for this opportunity to share their awesome stencils and other products on Stencil Sunday, and thanks to you for watching, sharing, and subscribing, and helping me share the joy of creativity.